Yo, Mercurial here. I've been challenger many sets and I've also coached many people from many different ranks. Because of this, I think I have a very good understanding of what people need to improve in TFT to really get to the next level and go from, for example, Emerald or any rank really to Master. Like I've seen these four aspects, people do them wrong all the time, and therefore I thought I'd make a video and explain how you can do them better. And the four aspects people need to really get better at, and you should understand if you want to get to master, is economy, items, early game, and also the meta in TFT. So let's start with the economy. For these rules and fundamentals, they of course have exceptions. But in general, if you want to get to master, you don't need to know all the exceptions. You might know some and heard them from streams, but if you just follow these fundamental rules, it should be more than enough to get master. So let's start with one costs. For one costs, the most important thing is that you really don't want to level any time before you start rolling. So you want to go to 3-1 and then roll there on level 4, and you do this to 32 gold. You roll to 32 because that means you can easily get to 50 gold again, and then you start slow rolling above 50 gold to get your upgrades. After this, you basically play a normal game. You just level when you are above 30 or 40 gold after leveling, and you have a good unit to put in. But the most important are the steps before you get the 3 costs. And then for 2 cost econ, you do something kinda similar, but you go to level 6 at 3-2, and there you roll for a 2-star carry. This step I see so many people ignore. You need to roll for your 2-star carry, you need to stabilize here. If you don't stabilize at 3-2, you will just lose so much HP if you're playing for a 2-cost reroll line, and it's not gonna work out. So you want to be stable stage 3 and win out there. And after this, you just slow roll on 6 over 50 gold for your 3-star. And we also have 3 important last rules. If you're 3 units from 3-starring, then you can roll down to 30 gold. So if you have 6 of your carry or your most important unit, just roll down to 30 gold. And if this is the case and you hit 1, then you're 2 away, so you can roll down to 20. And if you're 1 away, roll down to 10. And you keep rolling down to 10 until you hit it. It shouldn't take that long to hit it in this case. Then we go to the 3-cost econ. This is super similar to the 2-cost one. It's basically the same, that you go to level 6 at 3-2 and roll for a 2-star carry. And this time it's a 3-cost instead of a 2-cost. But you do roll on 3-2 on level 6. But after this, you go up to 50 gold and start leveling to level 7 and slow roll on 7 over 50 gold. So the difference is that you roll on level 7 instead of 6. So for 1 costs, it's level 4 and a bit on 5. For 2 costs, it's on level 6. And for 3 costs, it's on level 7, but first you hit your 2-star carry on level 6 for 3 costs. And the 3 last rules for 3-cost reroll are the exact same as for 2 costs. So if you're 3 units away from 3-starring, roll to 30. If 2, roll to 20. And if 1, roll to 10. Now we come to the hardest one, the hardest economy. We come to the 4-cost economy. For this one, the hardest part, I would say, is the early game. You either want to play for a win streak or for a lose streak. The way you figure out if you play for a win streak or a lose streak is mainly dependent on if you have upgrades or not. If you have upgrades, you can play for a win streak, and then you level to 4 on 2-1, and then you level to 5 on 2-3 or 2-4. It doesn't really matter if you level on 2-3 on 2-4 that much, but basically, if you can get 10 gold, you probably do it on 2-4. But if you can't get 10 gold on 2-3, you probably do it on 2-3. It also depends on if you want 3 costs or not, but yeah, that's basically it. It doesn't matter too much where you do it. But if you're loose streaking early game, just don't level until 3-2. And then after this, you can level to 7 on 3-5 if you're strong and stay above 30 gold. But usually just level to 7 on 4-1. After this, we get to the late game, and you want to level to 8 at 4-1 if you're contested, and can roll above 30 gold, since then you can hit the units that are contested before your opponents. But if you're weak, just level, or no, not if you're weak, but normally just level at 4-2 and roll for units at 4-2. After this, you basically have 2 options. Either you stay level 8 the whole game, or you go to 9. And if you stay level 8, it usually means you're playing for a top 4 or like a top 5, top 6, maybe. And in this case, you want to roll on 4-5 for upgrades, and maybe hit like a Corky 2, Ambessa 2, or whatever you're playing for. But you hit the upgrades and try to play for a top 4. But if you're playing for a first, you ideally want to level to 9 at 5-2 with like 20 plus gold and hit some upgrades, or ideally like a legendary and really cap out your board. But yeah, that's basically everything about the economy. So if you follow these rules, you should probably not have any big issues with economy when it comes to getting to master. And then the next thing that you really should focus on is items. And the main issue I see people under master do with items is that they don't slam enough. You shouldn't really care about this too much, and honestly, like, if you're playing an AD comp, just slam the AD items, and you're playing AP, slam the AP items, and if you get tank items, slam the tank items. A good rule to follow is that you should never really have 4 or more components on your bench. You should always have 2 or 3 or 1, or of course 0. But yeah, if you have 4, something has gone wrong. You should really not have that. The only other thing you should really think about with items is knowing maybe the 1 or 2 items that you need to have on your carry. For example, Twitch really wants Rageblade. It's kind of okay if you only have red buff on him, but yeah, Rageblade is really good. So you need to know what items are, like the must have. But usually there aren't many, usually like 1 per unit. And you also really want some anti-heal. So you either want Sunfire or Morello or red buff. It's also pretty good having Sunder or Magic Shred, but this isn't really as important as anti-heal. But it's good if you can get the Less Whisper, Even Shroud, Ionic Spark, or Static Shiv. As I said though, this isn't really a must. Okay, and then the next step you should really follow to get master is to play early game better. I see so many getting a good late game board in Emerald or below, but they don't really know how to play early game. And the main thing I would say for this is you don't need to memorize all the early game boards or anything, but try to play around your pairs. If you have a pair, you should probably play it early game and try to hit the upgrade. And if it's a pair of, for example, a sorcerer, you should probably play around sorcerer. So if you have Lux pair, maybe play Lux and then add some frontline. That's all you need to do. Because if you hit the upgrade, you should be winning early. And in addition to this, you need to play frontline and backline. try to have like a balance between frontline and backline. If you're playing a Lux, maybe add 2 frontliners, like 2 Sentinels or 2 Bruisers, anything. It doesn't need to be synergetic with Lux, but you need the frontline. I see so many just like playing the synergies and not caring early game if they have a frontliner. But it's way more important having frontline and some frontline synergy than having like all your synergies active early game. So try to play around that. And lastly, it's also meta. And for meta, you basically need to know what comps are good in the specific time period and what to play from what situation. So I will go through basically how I do it. I usually go to this tier list to get a basic outline of what is good. So for example, you can look at Solo Gesang's tier list or Dish Soaps and Frodens here. And from here, you want to have like a basic game plan before you go into the game. So if you hit AP items, you should have a plan. For example, your plan can be, if I get AP items, I'm gonna play around Zoe or Silco, depending on what units I get. And if you get AD items, you're gonna play Twitch or Corki. And if you get melee carry items, you're gonna play Ambessa. So you want to have these 3 kind of comps. And in addition to this, you should also maybe add some reroll comps. So if you hit the conditions to play Urgot, you play Urgot. If you hit the conditions to play Nocturne, you play Nocturne, and so on. So you want at least 1 comp for each bucket. Backline AD, frontline AD, AP, and hopefully some reroll. And if you do all this, you should have a good understanding of the meta and a good game plan to go into your game and never be dizzy about what to play. Yeah, so in conclusion, just follow the economy fundamentals. Don't try to do your own thing too much with economy. With items, always slam, or not always, but slam a lot. Get some anti-heal, get some Sunder or Magic Shred, and never have more than 4 items on your bench. For early game, play frontline and backline, and also play around your pairs and upgrades. And lastly, also know and have a game plan for the meta, and just look at some tier lists like this and figure it out. Yeah, I hope this helped you, and hopefully you can get master now. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments, and good luck. Peace.